but I'm so sentimental, and I'm so over.
Hey Cakenistas, it's Marisha. If you have been with me for the years that I have been on YouTube, then you will look at me like, what in the world you doing this again for? Because I have definitely already done a red velvet cheesecake. However, you guys, that video was done some 6 years ago. And it's just, the quality just, I mean, it just sucks. Yeah, it's not good at all. A red velvet cheesecake, it's supposed to be beautiful. That's a special cake right there. And I just feel like that video didn't do it justice. Not only that, but I have a confession. I actually left the parchment paper on the cheesecake, so I could not slice it on camera. Cake, cheesecake, parchment, cake. And I gave it to my aunt, and I had to tell her, just when you cut it, just oh yeah, we're gonna do a redo. Everybody deserves a redo, okay? Especially in the midst of the holiday season. So if you have not done so yet, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Press on the notification bell, and let's get started. Okay, Cakenistas, here are all of the ingredients that I'm going to be using for my red velvet cake. Everything is room temperature, the butter is softened, the eggs are ready. So in my mixing bowl, I'm going to put in my unsalted butter as well as my sugar. I'm going to mix this for a couple of minutes until everything is fully combined. At that point, I can add in my eggs, 1 egg at a time. I love using brown eggs specifically because they're always a little bit less expensive than the white eggs. So you get a little bit more of a bang for your buck. These were still $4 a dozen, which is crazy, but it'll do. Next, I'm going to sift in my cocoa powder. In red velvet cakes, you only use a couple tablespoons of cocoa powder, and I think that's why I like them so much. It's not too heavy of a chocolate flavor, but it's still super decadent. So now I'm going to add in some of my homemade vanilla extract, and we are going to continue to blend and mix everything till it is fully combined. I let this go for about 4 to 5 minutes. In the meantime, let's work on our dry ingredients. So I'm going to sift in my flour, baking powder, and salt. And this is how we're going to get a nice, light, and fluffy cake. You can use cake flour. I love cake flour, but I don't have any. Now, if you don't have any, but you want to make your own, you can do that by removing 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and replacing that with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Give the flour mixture a few sifts, and you should have something similar to cake flour. So we're going to put that aside, and now we're going to make our milk mixture. In a cup, I'm going to add in my buttermilk, a little bit more vinegar, and then my dye. Now this whole dye situation was a story because I ordered more dye, but it was not going to come in time for me to do this video. So I looked in my container and I found every red situation that I possibly could. So I'm going to just add all of the red and pink dyes that I have in the house. Now you can see that my butter, cocoa powder, sugar mixture is gorgeous. I mean, it's so silky, light, and fluffy. I could dive right in right now at this moment. Now I'm going to add in half of my flour mixture. Let it mix for just about 10 seconds or so, and then add in all of my milk mixture. After that, I'm going to add in the rest of my flour. Now this is where I want to be careful because I really want to get this color right. I was almost going to settle on a pink velvet cake, but then I found some red airbrush and some more hot pink gel dye. You don't want to add too much water-based dyes because you don't want to change the makeup of the cake. If you can stick to gel dye, do so. But in this situation, I needed to use a little bit of airbrush color, which definitely helped. So I'm trying not to overmix. I want to mix this by hand just a little bit so that I can incorporate all of my dyes without the batter looking streaky and being overmixed. This is science. This is full-blown science. See, I think we're definitely getting there. I put a little bit of white gel dye in there as well to bring up the color and bring down some of that brown from the cocoa powder. I don't know if it actually did anything, but it definitely looks like a bright Christmas red, and that's what I want. So I have my two 6-inch cake pans right here. They are actually covered with a little bit of shortening and dusted in flour. I'm going to pull out my scale to make sure that I get 2 perfectly even layers of red velvet cake. My oven is preheating at 350 degrees. This took about 35 to 40 minutes to fully bake. Make sure that you check the doneness with a toothpick in the center. Also, go ahead and pull out your bake even strips for this one. It helps to create really nice edges around the cake and keeps them nice and leveled. So in the meantime, let's make our cheesecake batter. I have some softened Philadelphia cream cheese here. I'm going to put that in my mixer and begin to beat. It shouldn't take too long because it is room temperature. Now I'm going to slowly incorporate my sugar. And this is the easiest cheesecake recipe and my favorite cheesecake recipe. Whenever I kind of try something different, I'm always a little bit disappointed. For some reason, when it comes to cheesecake, the simpler the recipe, the happier I am. I'm going to add in some fresh squeezed lime juice. Typically it would be lemon juice, but we have fresh squeezed lime juice, so why not? Then I'm going to add in some of my vanilla extract once again. I definitely need to refill that bottle. It's about time. And I'm going to do all of my mixing now. I'm going to stop, scrape down the bowl. We want to get all of the chunks out. We want to get everything as smooth as possible before adding in our egg. So go ahead and let that mix for 3 to 4 more minutes. And then we can add the egg. Let it mix for just about a minute or so until it is fully combined, and then we can put that in our pan. Now typically we would use a springform pan, but I don't have a 6-inch springform pan, so I just lined my regular cake pan with some parchment paper on the bottom and around the sides, and this is going to work just fine. Like, this is going to be perfect. So this is going to go into a hot water bath and then in the oven at 350 degrees for about 1 hour. If you haven't looked through my holiday playlist, I have loads of other holiday videos. I have gingerbread cheesecake cupcakes, which were amazing. The red velvet Yule log that I did. Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus cupcakes. Now you want to talk about a redo. Video that should be redone. We did the gingy cake a couple of years ago from Shrek. You guys definitely have your options, so don't stop right here with this video. Click on the playlist at the end of this video and keep on watching, okay? My red velvet cakes are fresh out of the oven, still piping hot, so hot that I can barely touch them. I want to level them. They are perfectly baked, by the way. So I do want to level them while they're in the pan, and I'm using the pan to get those perfect levels. Now what you can also do if you really want to get funky with this one, you can tort each cake to give you 4 layers and then have 1 layer of actual cheesecake in the center and then the other 2 layers be cream cheese frosting. I'm going to set these aside and allow them to fully cool, and let's check out this cheesecake. The cheesecake is fresh out of the oven. You do want to let it sit in the oven for 1 hour with the door open. Your cheesecake should have a slight jiggle in the center to it and just a little bit of browning on top. I'm going to let this fully cool down for about an hour so that I can work on my frosting. I do have a separate video on how to make a cream cheese frosting, but it is very simple. Just 1 8-ounce packet of cream cheese, 1 stick of unsalted butter, 3 to 4 cups of powdered sugar, and then go ahead and add in a pinch of salt and a little splash of vanilla extract. A splash sounds like a lot, but you know, Hopefully you know what I mean when I say a splash, about a teaspoon or so. And I'm going to let my frosting mix for about 7 minutes in total. I want to make sure that it's completely smooth, everything is incorporated, light and fluffy. And I also need to do a consistency test because cream cheese frosting has a tendency to be soft. So I want to make sure that I can decorate my cake with it. So you will see me kind of swivel, 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 dab, and then bring it up, and I'm holding a nice peak, so this is gonna be perfect. Let's move on. I love this nutcracker. I got this nutcracker from Joann's craft store a couple years ago, and it was an actual nutcracker. I don't know if I could use it. The back broke. I don't know. So cute. I should have showed you guys, like, when you mess with the back, his mouth opens up. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so now we're going to assemble our cheesecake. I'm putting down my red velvet layer and then a little bit of that cream cheese frosting. We want to give the cheesecake something to adhere to. And this is one thing that I did not do in the first video. I just had cake on cheesecake on cake. Just dry, just dry. So we're definitely going to make it a little bit better this time around. I'm now giving my cake a layer of buttercream frosting to catch all of the crumbs. I decided that I want this to be a naked cake because red velvet is gorgeous. I want to be able to see that it's red velvet. Then I also want it to be decorated. So I'm going to use a brand new cake stencil that I got. I'm sure you guys have probably seen this somewhere on social media. And I'm going to put this onto my cake. Now my cake was in the freezer for 30 minutes. So that buttercream layer is completely solid. I'm using push pins to hold my stencil in place, and I'm adding a thin layer of buttercream frosting. Now there are some tips that I could give you guys. Make sure that the first layer of buttercream on your cake is almost perfect. You want to have nice sharp edges. You want to make sure that it is completely up and down. And also, when you are applying and removing that buttercream from the stencil, you want to make sure that you remove all of it. You can kind of see where I didn't get close enough to the stencil. I didn't remove the excess, and it just doesn't look as perfect as it could. However, I'm going to use that to my benefit because I do want this cake to look rustic. Okay, I want it to be a rustic beauty. This is Christmas. So I have put some of my cake scraps in a blender, and I have perfect little red crumbs. So let's do some crumbs on the bottom and the top of the cake, just around the rim. And let's take some of the cream cheese frosting. This was my first design. I didn't know what that was and I didn't like it, so I took that off. And I'm going to pipe a design that was similar to what I did on my kiwi lime cake. It's like a couple of swirls and then buttercream shells in the form of a heart. I'm going to put a little bit of that red velvet crumb on top of my little shells. A couple of years ago, I would have freaked out knowing that I had red crumbs in my frosting because I scraped it off, but now I'm just going to make it work. I actually love the way it looks. This screams, eat me. I'm red velvet cheesecake. You can see that layer of cheesecake. You can see the gorgeous layers of red velvet, that gorgeous red crumb, the design. I love everything about this cake. It is definitely couture. Yes, we have to cut the cake. I'm hoping for perfect layerage. I'm hoping for no parchment. I'm hoping for delicatessen. And that's exactly what I've got in front of me right now. This is absolutely gorgeous. Oh my goodness, I hope that you guys get to try this out. The recipe for this will be in the description down below. You can also go to MarishasCoutureCakes.com for the recipe. I will see y'all in the next video. Couture and a red velvet cheesecake. Bye guys. What did you guys think? Here is the previous red velvet cheesecake recipe from some years ago. And here is the red velvet cheesecake from today. What do you guys think? I know, right? No parchment paper this time. How about that? High five, friend. Yes. The Cakenista comment of the day is going to go to you. I love buttercream on my sweet potato pound cake with orange glaze streusel. I love buttercream says, hey gal, I'm Barbadian as well. Love your videos and energy. Hey, yeah, I was so excited when I saw that comment. I must have mentioned in that video that my dad's side, besides down south, is in Barbados and Puerto Rico. So, hey gal, keep in touch, okay? Thank you so much for commenting. Much love goes out to you. We may be cousins, I'm just saying. If you would like to be featured in the next video, go ahead and comment down below and be subscribed to the channel and you will be featured in the next video. Christmas is coming up fast and strong, so if I don't see you guys after this video, please have a very Merry Christmas. Have a beautiful holiday. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your friends. We are in some crazy times, so just hold on to your loved ones. Tell them that you love them and be blessed, okay? All right. I will see y'all in the next video. I have to run and grab a cake box before I meet this lady. She says she has been looking for me at the pop-up shops just to get a chocolate rum cake for Christmas. She was like, I had it a couple weeks ago and I need one and I've been waiting for you. I was like, great, here I am. See y'all soon. Bye, Cakenistas and Cakenistos.